Hello, dear audiences. Welcome to the show. My name is Jacques Xiao. I'm hosting this East-West show on G&E TV. Speaking of East-West, we are covering large range of all aspects, including some interesting stuff. Well, you know, sometimes when disaster happens, your mind is heavy, and you kind of like pray for people who were involved in disaster. But this one, with the Malaysian airline missing aircraft, before you get a chance to mourn for the people, to feel sorry for the people, there are things, hilarious points showing up. While questions are asked, none of them being seriously or properly answered.
That's right.
So it is time to put all these together, or at least a majority of these together, to see what exactly was happening, or what exactly happened, or what exactly is happening now, even now. News says that early this morning, midnight last night, Australian Navy or whoever has found or determined somewhere an object that looked like a piece of debris of the aircraft, which is not confirmed yet. So, adding that, the situation gets even more crowded. So, joining me in the discussion is Mr. Ken Hamming, and the lover of life.
I do.
And the author of a great book. And to Ken, here's my welcome to you.
Thank you, my friend.
All right.
I'm honored to be here.
We seriously take this matter into consideration, that those people who happen to be unfortunately on the airplane, we still not giving up hope. There might be chances of miracles.
Yes.
Because miracles do happen.
Yes.
So let's pray for them. Let's keep our fingers crossed. However, we are prepared for the worst, because you know the problem, the disaster was devastating enough to do that. Now, what is your overall comment about this whole thing, which has been commented by the cross-line news media?
Yeah.
Has been the unprecedented.
Yes,
in
it
history.
is.
So what is yours?
Yeah. Well, one thing I would like to start out to say is that, like I've watched, like many people, the hours and hours and hours of discussions hypothetically about what could have happened in this instance. Very seldom, a very small percentage of the time is really dedicated to feeling the grief and the concern for the individuals on the plane and their families that are going through incomprehensible pain right now.
Of course.
So I just want to say that we're aware of that, we care about that, and then we'll move on and talk about the other issues.
Sure. So our thoughts this moment are still with the loved ones of those who were on the airplane, and we still wish you good luck.
Yeah,
There might be
and
some
there were
chance.
mainly Chinese, and then 3 Americans
there are
and 2 kids.
154 of Chinese
Thank you.
citizen.
Yeah.
And 3 Americans.
Yes.
And lots of others.
Lots of, yeah.
Every life is a life.
Every life is of equal value to me.
Yeah, equal value, yes. So what do you think that had happened?
You know, there's so many scenarios. I was thinking about our conversation here, and there's nothing we can say that is foolish, because there's nothing known. We're almost immune from making, like when we talk about other subjects, I can say something that's a mistake and kind of make a fool of myself. Here you can't make a fool of yourself, because nobody knows everything. So all the other people in the media are doing the same thing. But there's a lot of, it's hard to conceive. I don't believe people broke into the cockpit and took over the plane. I think it's hard to conceive of that with all of the precautions that are taken to protect the pilot and
co-pilot.
co-pilot.
Word says that, especially after 911, the cockpit security has been tightened
massively
to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Unless it's open inside, the manpower from outside cannot even open it.
Right.
even though with gunshots fired.
Right. So it would mean probably collusion was needed between somebody in the pilot co-pilot area and somebody outside of that door. But it just, there's a lot of questions. To me, I'm really concerned about the pilot who has been going through some difficulties and some emotional dissatisfaction with what's happened to a friend of his who was sentenced to 5 years in prison by the government, and he was in the opposition side.
Once again, probably we should make a little statement to our audiences. Normally when disaster happens, you don't want to talk about the details about it. You just, accept it as one of the sad stories, and life goes on. The reason that we are still talking about it is because of the question itself.
Yes.
Because the different phenomenon itself.
Unprecedented.
Unprecedented, because there are so many different stories. One overturns the other.
Yes.
And then the third one overturns the two.
Yeah.
And it goes on and on and on in rotation.
Right.
It goes east, west, south, and whatever.
Yeah.
And it goes everywhere. It goes all of a sudden. You have an airplane going almost everywhere in the world.
Right.
So that is why we're talking about it. What could happen?
Yeah.
One point confirmed that couldn't be an intruder from outside in the cabin getting into or got into the cockpit
On an uninvited basis.
and
Yes.
uninvited basis.
Yeah.
And then it has to be the pilot and the co-pilot.
Or one of them.
Or one of them.
And maybe if it was the pilot, then the co-pilot may have been disposed of in some way, which would be very sad also.
And also it was confirmed on the news that in the cockpit, no action or punching keys or buttons or whatever can be not notified by the other one.
Right.
Because everything is knee high.
They're sitting right there.
Knee high to your overhead.
Yeah.
Something like that, everything is visible. You cannot do something even like this behind your chair.
See, I feel very good about the co-pilot because what I understand, and everything we say may be wrong because there's a lot of...
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
But that he was engaged to be married, so happy getting married in 2 months, and just ready and enjoying the top part of his life. So a person in that joyous position will probably not do something nasty.
You're right. And also to the pilot himself, somebody say he was one of the opposition parties of the Malaysian whatever.
Yeah.
And one of his friends, something happened to him?
Well, he's in opposition to the political party in control, and he was tried. The pilot was supposedly in the courtroom 5 hours before he took off when this gentleman was sentenced to 5 years in prison. And he was...
For sodomy or something?
Well, yeah, for some gay act or something, which, parts of the world is not very too acceptable.
Not common.
Yeah, maybe common, but not acceptable.
I don't know.
But in that the pilot was visibly upset. Now the other thing that I have heard, but again I don't know if it's true, but that the pilot and his family, the family split up 2 days before. They left. They separated. Not one just going on vacation, but they separated for some reasons. Now it's hard. The facts will come out. Okay.
All right. So there might be something wrong with the pilot, right? Either because of his friend, right?
Right.
Or who were sentenced to 5 years, whatever.
Yeah.
Or because of his own problems. And his first officer, his co-pilot, a young man, just starting to enjoy life.
Absolutely.
And they were friends for a long time.
Yep.
He will single-handedly decide to do something almost a suicide.
I can't.
Just like same thing. If you and I were driving the airplane, right?
Yeah.
So I single-handedly take you along with me to the death.
When you're in a mental state that you're willing to cause people to lose their lives, you just don't care about the individual. Because when you take a life, it means you're not attached to that individual. So
when you take a life yourself, well, you're taking along with the other 230 something people.
Why?
I don't think so. If this person has been such an evil-minded people,
right,
he would have done the same thing a long time ago.
It's a good question.
Yeah, right.
But I'm sort of supportive of the co-pilot because there's just nothing negative that was happening in his life other than just joy.
something so wrong happened with his family that he has to take his own life, his co-pilot's life, all the lives of the 38 people on board. Mm-hmm. Is there something that wrong?
Well, the other possibilities are they say, well, maybe there's a fire in there, maybe something happened in the cargo area. Mm-hmm. They're saying all kinds of things are possible, but it does appear that the switches, the communication was intentionally stopped.
Yeah, of course.
And then there was no cell phone activity from any of the people in the plane.
For somebody who is so determined to die, who is so determined to commit suicide, does he have to worry about turning the signal off? And speaking of turning the signal off, it's not an easy job to do. It's been confirmed widely by different sources that it requires at least two hands, two people.
Yeah, that I don't.
One operate from the cockpit, one operate from the luggage cargo.
Okay, I don't have a full knowledge on that.
Yeah, but I don't have either. Right. But it says on the release the information, and it was confirmed, quote unquote, by authorities, by professional authorities, that has to need one in the cockpit, one go all the way back to the luggage compartment to operate. And then you're talking about ELTs, and then you're talking about the last signal which disappeared at 11 o'clock in the morning.
Right. Well, they're saying on the ELTs, if there is a major impact at 500 miles an hour into the ocean or into the ground, they probably will not go off because they will be destroyed. It's like they last a second or something.
And then of course. Anyway, let's take a short moment now. When we come back, we'll find more, because if you settle down yourself and think about step by step towards the very end in Australian water, you will probably get many questions than people can answer. Yeah. And then the more questions people cannot answer, the problems may become clearer to some people.
Right, more interest.
More interesting. So stay with us, we'll be right back.